Esteemed viewers, this is tutorial number 3 in continuation with tutorial number 2 on technical aptitude. The point in context is C programming. And in tutorial 1 we dealt with simple problems, simple programs drawn from textbooks and drawn from GATE question papers and drawn from some of the company question papers. And the second tutorial happens to cover medium complexity problems, and in this tutorial we really explain the more complex problems. In the complexity order, the problems that are the objective type questions that are discussed here are much more complex. So invariably most of the MCQs that are selected in this particular tutorial happens to be concerning to the pointers in C. So we will just go without much ado question after question, and we have covered around 25 questions over here, and that makes it 75 questions, solid 75 questions in technical aptitude in C. The first question is, the following program segment prints. Okay, here is the program. Int v equal to 3 is a variable initialized to 3, and this is a pointer to integer, pointer to v, pv, and it holds the address of v. It stores the address of v. That if the address of v is 5555, say for example, pv holds this address. So in this printf we see %d for this. So value of v will be printed, and star asterisk pv would only mean, and here asterisk is called as indirect pointer. It only means the content of the pointer, content of the memory location addressed pointed by this pointer. I repeat, star pv means the content of the memory location pointed by this pointer. That is nothing but once again 3. Therefore it has to print 3 side by side with a gap, of course, and all other answers are incorrect. The second question goes like this: consider the following programming segment. Main character x10. So this is a character of this is a string variable. This is a string, x is a string variable, holds 10 characters, and here is a pointer to characters which is pointing to the first cell. Here you should remember, whenever we have string variables, the name of the string variable itself is a pointer. It is also called as pointer constant because pointer points to the first cell address. So now we will read the string through percentages, and we will read the string and change ampersand x of 4. X of 4 here means the character available in the fourth cell, the address of the fourth cell. Let us see what exactly this particular function does. Change character a, puts a. Right. If a, b, c, d, e, f, g is the input, the output will be, because here what comes to this is the address of the fourth cell. Okay, and we are putting once again the string after the fourth cell. So here if a, b, c, d, e, f, g is the input, the output will be, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this portion of the string will be stored in a now. A is no longer this particular length because the address here is the fourth cell. Therefore EFG is the input, the output will be EFG. It should be EFG. Yeah. Next, the third question is, if A is an array of integer, then the value ampersand A of I is same as that of value of address of A of I. That is, whatever the value that is contained in A of I is nothing but A plus I. So this is another way of representing the content of an array. A of I, A plus 2 means the second cell. the content of the second cell. A plus 3 means the content of the third cell, something like this. All other things will take us to a particular location, because this is ampersand of a minus 1 plus size of int. Okay, it will take to that particular address. But here the question is the value of ampersand a of I is nothing but a plus I. Okay, so you have to jump to that particular location in order to get the value of the address. Okay, that is the thing. So therefore this is the correct answer, a plus I. Consider the declaration character x. So this is an array, this is a string, and this is the way to initialize the string. Character x equal to vis-a-vis, that is what you see is what you get. Okay, and character star y, this is a pointer to character, and this is another way of storing the character string. So pick the correct answer. The output of put x and put y are different. The output of put x and put sx and put sy are the same. The outputs are implementation dependent, none of the above, and this is absolutely correct. Okay, this is one way, as we know before, and this is another way. With the help of pointers you can also store the entire string with a pointer, and this pointer will point to the very first cell. And since the end of the string is known to the pointer, because the end of the string is terminated by the null character, it holds the entire thing. Therefore put s y and put s x, they are the same. The output will be once again wys wyg. Therefore this is the correct answer. Right. If compute is a function needing 3 arguments x, y, z, then compute can be invoked. Compute xyz, star compute xyz, and star compute xyz, and all the above. Actually it can be invoked like this and like this. This is syntactical error. Okay, this is syntactical. This is the content or the output of the function, okay, pointed by a pointer called as compute. The function name itself is a pointer, and here this is the ordinary way, the conventional way of invoking a function. Therefore both the answers are correct. Consider the true declaration. Which answer is correct? Void, star void pointer, character pointer. This points to void kind of data. Void kind of data means no data. Therefore void pointer doesn't hold anything, it is empty. Character pointer, of course, character pointer can point to the character kind of a variable, character variable. Okay, therefore void pointer points to some empty space. Character pointer is a pointer to character type of variable. Therefore it is always reasonable to equate void pointer to character pointer. We can always do like this, because this contains empty and this is empty, and this is the character pointer will be filled into this, and both of them will be addressing to the same location. And this is wrong, because this is content of void pointer equal to content of character pointer. And character pointer to void pointer, if we do like this, whatever that is there in the hold of character pointer will be just becomes empty, because this contains nothing. Okay, and this is also wrong. We cannot equate the content, the indirect pointer, that content of the character pointer that is pointing to some memory location equal to void pointer. No, we cannot do like this. We cannot do like this. It's only this the correct answer is. Okay, now we will go to the seventh question. Put s argument v. This is command line parameters, of course. It will print typically the name of the executable file, actually the name of the executable file. Then comes argument v1, argument v2, depending upon the number of parameters that you are going to supply to the function or to the executable file. Therefore argv0 points to the name of the executable file. Right. The following program results in main printf %u main. It will just print the address of main. Okay, as you might have already guessed, it prints the starting address of the main function in memory. Okay, printing of the starting address of the main function. It doesn't generate any, okay, as it is, okay, amplified by animation. This is wrong actually. Okay, it has to print the starting address of, okay, there is no doubt about that. Okay, right, 7th is over, yeah, 8th is over. We'll come to the 9th program. The following program, main integer function. Okay, this is the prototype declaration of the function. Function is called. Here, this is another way of calling the function. As we told earlier in the previous question, this is another way. Therefore, here 2 times the function is called, okay, in a different way. This is the conventional way. This is how we are going to make use of the pointer, okay, along with the function. So here the function is defined. The function will just print hello. Therefore, since the function is called 2 times, it has to print hello, but it will never give space. One time it is printed over here, since there is no /n. The second time when it prints, it has to print just by the side of it, and this is also wrong. Anyway, this is wrong. This is also wrong. Therefore, it has to print hello. You look at the intricacy of this particular question. Okay, we will be tempted to do this, but anyway, it is not written in order to print this way. Actually, there is no space. Had we left some amount of space over here after hello, and then if we had placed this double quote somewhere over here, definitely we would have generated space between hello. Okay. Consider the following segment of the program, integer a. Okay, b equal to ampersand of a. That means b holds as a pointer. B holds the address of a, and this is a pointer to pointer. Okay, this is pointer to pointer. This points. Okay, b is a pointer. C is a pointer to b. Therefore, it is pointer to pointer. So, if a equal to 4, you are going to place value 4 in the address of a, in the location of a, into that particular cell. Okay, therefore, a star cc alters the content of the pointer pointed by c. It alters the content of the pointer. The pointer is this, pointed by c. C points to b. Therefore, what we get is assigns 5 to a, because b holds the address of a. C changes the content of the pointer pointed by c. C points to b. B points to a. Therefore, the value of 5 will be assigned to a. Okay, that is the thing. And the 11th question is a arrow operator b is syntactically correct. A and b are not the pointers. This comes in the context of structures. A should be a pointer to a structure and b should be the field. A is a structure and b is a, no, this is also wrong. A is a pointer to a structure and b is a structure. No, this is also wrong. A is a pointer to a structure, sure, in which b is a field. This is the only way. Whenever we declare a pointer to a structure, each and every field or each and every member of a structure should be accessed with the arrow operator. That is the syntax. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Then the 12th question is, we have considered the definition of a nested structure. Here is the structure, a small structure, let us say, connoting the address, holding the address template, character city consisting of 10 characters, character street 20, long int pin code. Okay, structure, character name 20, integer sex maybe 1 2 3 something like that, structure address locate. Okay, this is locate is the variable of structure type structure address. This is a variable of structure type and the structure is address. And as far as this structure is concerned, these are all the variables. Criminal is a variable of strut and JD is a pointer to this particular structure and it holds address of the criminal. Okay, that is the thing, right? Declaration and initialization is made at the same place. Sex can be addressed. You can see here, sex is a member of the structure, main structure. Therefore, it can be addressed like a criminal dot sex or JD arrow sex. Like that, it can be addressed. Criminal dot sex, B JD arrow sex. Okay, or this one, right? JD, the content of the pointer pointed by JD, the content of the memory location pointed by JD. It is just pointing to a structure criminal. Therefore, this is another way. There are 3 ways of holding a particular field of a structure. Pin code can be addressed by, and pin code is here. We will go back again. Pin code is here. It is a member in this structure which is inside this particular structure, and we need to address by, let us say, by criminal. Okay, it is something like criminal dot locate dot pin code. But to address, we need 2 dots, of course. Criminal dot locate dot pin code. Okay, or this way, JD is a pointer to locate, and locate will hold pin code, something like this. And these things are wrong because you cannot attach this arrow operator to locate, because locate is not a pointer to a structure. The 4th character in the criminal name field can be accessed by. So can name criminal dot name 3, and it is a 4th character. 4th character means 0 1 2 3. So criminal name 3, JD name 3. This is wrong. Okay, yeah, this can also, it can also be written like this. JD, the content of the JD, the content of the pointer pointing to a particular memory location. The content of the memory location pointed by this JD. This is as good as telling criminal dot name plus 3 to go to that particular location. We will, within this bracket, it will take us to the particular location, and the content is here. The content will be printed out. Okay, the character that is available in the 3rd place, in the 4th place is printed. This is another way. This is the straightforward way. This is also straightforward way. This is little tricky because this is JD, the content of the memory location addressed by JD dot name plus 3. It will take to that particular address and the content of that. Okay. Then 16th, consider the following program segment. Character, A is a pointer to character, B is also a pointer to character, C of 10 is a string, D of 10 is also a string. And please remember, C and D by their form, the constant pointers, because C just tells us the C of 0, D tells us ampersand of D of 0, the address of 0th cell, Therefore, they are called as constant pointers. A equal to B, really permitted. There is no wrong. There is no wrong here. 2 pointers can be equated. B equal to C, pointer to the name of C. Yeah, this will also hold good. C equal to D. No, it doesn't hold good. You can never equate 2 strings, 2 string variables. Okay, you can just compare. You have to use string comparison function over here. D equal to A is also not permissible. The statement having errors is C equal to D and D equal to A. These two statements are having errors. If a variable is an integer from 0 to n, where n is a positive integer, then the variable can be represented as a bit field whose length is the integral part of. This is as good as finding how many bits are required to represent a number n, which is a positive integer, and it should be this, of course, log to base 2n with a floor. Of course, floor is missing over here, plus 1. Okay, let us say if n equal to 15, then floor of log n is 15 is 2 to the power of 2 point something, therefore it becomes 3. Okay, floor of log n is 3 plus 1, therefore it requires 4 bits to represent an integer value equal to 15. Okay, so I repeat, the floor of log n plus 1, it should have been, I will write it over here only. Okay, the floor of log n, like this, plus 1. Okay, floor of an integer, okay, it is 2. Okay, if n is 15, the meaning of this is, okay, the floor of log 2n is 2 to the power of 2 point something. Okay, and 2 point something is 2, because 2 point something is a real number. Okay, it is the highest real number, highest integer less than this real number. Okay, this becomes 2 point something. So the highest integer is 2 plus 1, 3. Okay, we need 3 bits. 2 to the power of 3, 3 point something plus 1. Right. Now log n, these things are all wrong. Okay, this is how we represent. This is how we will find out how many bits are required in order to represent a decimal number n. Okay, consider the following snippet of C code: integer j equal to 1, while j less than or equal to n, j equal to j plus 2. This is the thing. So 19, the number of comparisons made in the execution of the loop for any n value greater than 0 is, we will consider n equal to 8, let us say n equal to 8. If you take n equal to 8, it starts with 1, definitely this is true. So first comparison happened, okay, and then once again j will become 2, definitely 2 is less than n, second comparison will happen, then it will become 4, third comparison will happen, then it will become 8, okay, and the number should be less than or equal to n, but anyway comparison will happen, but this will never be executed. Therefore it takes 4 comparisons. Okay, it takes 4 comparisons for 8. Okay, first comparison when n equal to if n equal to 8, j equal to 1, therefore j is less than n, one comparison will happen, j will become 2, second comparison will happen, j will become 4, okay, third comparison will happen, j will become 8, okay, since j is less than or equal to n, fourth comparison will also happen. Okay, therefore the answer should be this one, ceiling of log n plus 1. Okay, ceiling of log n. Here log n is, once again I repeat, log 2 of n. Okay, log 2 of n is nothing but to what power 2 is to be raised in order to get back n. Here n chosen is n chosen is 8, therefore 2 to the power of 3 is 8, and ceiling of 3 is 3 only, because ceiling of a real number is the smallest integer greater than this real number. Okay, had it been 3.1, let us say, we would have chosen 4. Okay, that is the smallest integer greater than this 3.1. We cannot select 5. Okay, so here in this particular example, it gives us 3 plus 1 equal to 4. Therefore, this answer is correct. Right. Consider the following C function. What it is: integer function, integer n, static integer r equal to 0. So you know, static variable, it's a local variable, but whatever the changes that happens within the function will be safeguarded. If r becomes for some reason 2 will be retained and 0 will be vanishing. Whatever the recent changes happens, that will be statically kept. Okay, static integer r equal to 0. If n is less than or equal to 0, return 1. If n equal to greater than 3, r becomes equal to n, return function n minus 2 plus 1. Otherwise, return function n minus 1 plus r. This is some kind of a typical recursive function. So the question is, what is the value of function phi? So we will trace this. This is a complex question only. We need to trace this. So in the first cycle, function phi equal to, since n is greater than 3, okay, we'll just close this. Yeah. Since n is greater than 3, it will come over here. R will become phi and return function 3. 5 minus 2 is 3 plus 2. Okay, r equal to 5. Next, r becomes 3, n becomes 3 now. It is not greater than 3, therefore it holds this particular thing. It returns this. Function 3 minus 1 is 2 plus 5. R remains to be 5 because it is declared to be static variable. Right. Function 2 is function 1, because the control will come over here, because n is greater than 3, then only it will go over here. Therefore function 2 minus 1 is 1 plus 5. 5 will be retained because r has already become 5. Then function 1 is function 0, 1 minus 1 is 0 plus 5. Right. Function 0 equal to 1. It's already written. If n is lesser than or equal to 0, return 1. Therefore, it has to, the answer will be collected something like this. It's an upward ladder: 1 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2. So therefore 6 plus 5 11, 11 plus 5 16, 16 plus 2 18. So 18 should be the answer. Right. What does the following program print? Void integer star p, integer star q. These are all pointers, and these pointers must necessarily receive address of some other variable, as it is done over here. Okay, p equal to q, star p equal to 2, and you are changing some memory location over here. Okay, because you are telling initialize the value of the memory address pointed by this particular point with 2. So integer I equal to 0, j equal to 1, they are made global variables, and here is a function ampersand I, ampersand j. As soon as you say this address of I, address of j, address of I will be copied into, will be received by this pointer, and address of j will be received by this particular pointer. And the question is, what exactly this particular printf statement does? We will go through very quickly. I equal to 0, it's here. The address of I is AB. I have used AB because I have made use of hexadecimal notation, right? Sometimes if the address exceeds a certain value, the address value will be represented by hexadecimal notation. Okay, so this is I equal to 0. The address of I is AB. This is which happens over here. And j equal to 0, j equal to 1 actually. Okay, j should be equal to 1. Sorry. Yeah, we can do it here only. j equal to 1, j equal to 1, we will change that. Okay, j equal to 1 and BC. This is what happens. And P equal to AB. Okay, so P will take the address of I. Address of I is AB. So P will be equal to AB, P as a pointer, and address of P is CD. Even pointer will have the address. Here I repeat, P will receive address of I. Address of I is stated to be AB, so P will have AB, and P has its own address CD. And Q will receive the address of J. Address of J is BC, and Q has an address DE. Now execution of P equal to Q over here results in P equal to BC, because Q holds the address of J, that is BC. So P becomes equal to BC, and the address of P is CD. It doesn't change anyway. Execution of star P equal to 2, this is nothing but the star P, asterisk P is initialize a value of 2 to a memory location which is pointed by P. Okay, so point P as a pointer points to BC, okay, which is the address of J. So J will become 2 and I will remain to be 0 only. So J will become 2 and its address will be intact. It is BC. Therefore the answer should be, for I it remains to be 1, I remains to be 0, and J had become 2 upon this pointer operation. So 0, 2 is the correct answer. There is a space over here and we have to write this particular answer. Okay, right. Next, what is the output of the following program? Okay, these are all little complex programs, complex functions which have appeared in core companies. Okay, integer function, integer star a, this is a pointer to integer, this is an ordinary variable. If n is less than or equal to 0, return 0, else if star a mod 2 equal to 0, return star a plus function a plus 1 n minus 1, else return star a minus function a plus 1 minus n minus 1. Integer main, a is actually this, it's an array. Star a means content of the a, first cell, 12. Okay, when you say a plus 1, it will come over here. Okay, yeah, so the way to get the fetch the numbers is just adding 1, just adding whatever that we require. Okay, the question is what exactly it prints if we say fun a comma 6. Okay, so here 6 will go. Okay, it will receive the address of a. Okay, function a, it will receive, this is the content of a, this is the content of a, and 6 is actually integer n, some value. Okay, now we will trace this. Okay, according to the function. Here you remember star a means a of 0, star a plus 1 means a of 1, star a plus 2 means a of 2, something like this. Okay, it brings out the content of that particular cell. Star a means a itself is a pointer, I told you earlier. So it is the content of the memory location pointed by this a. A is nothing but the name of the array itself. Therefore the name of the array itself is, and if you happen to print this, printf %d a, you will get the address of a. And if you print this star a, you will get the content of the 0th cell. If you want to take out the content of the first cell, you add 1. Second cell, add 2, something like this. So function a comma 6, what happens? Okay, if n is less than or equal to 0, no, it doesn't belong to. If a is 6 actually, n is 6. If else if star a mod 2 equal to 0, okay, star a mod 2, star a is this only, 12 mod 2, definitely it is equal to 0. Therefore what it brings is 12 plus function a plus 1, that is 7 minus n minus 1. Okay, n minus 1 means 6 will become 5. Okay, you will trace this very coolly and you can just relate this particular function with this particular tree. So function a comma 6, it becomes 12 plus function a plus 1, 5. Function a plus 1 means it will go to the next cell, 7 minus function a plus 1 divided by, because mod star a mod 2 is not equal to 0 because it is 7. Therefore, it will take minus sign over here. You can carefully trace, and a plus 1, the next cell, it contains 13. Once again, it is not divisible by 0, divisible by 2. Okay, divisible by, actually, yeah, divisible by 2, mod operation. Yeah, therefore, it will be 13 minus. Then comes, next cell value is 4. 4 is divisible by 2. So, a mod 2, star a mod 2 is 0. Therefore, it will take plus 10 and it will enter into that particular else if block. Right. A plus 1, 2 is this. A plus 1 is 11. 11 is also not divisible by 2. It's going to give remainder upon mod division. So, 1 a plus 1, it will go to next cell. You will find 6 being written. So, the answer is to be garnered something like this. Okay. 6 plus 0, 6. Then 11 minus 6 is 5. Okay. 4 plus 5 is 9. 13 minus 9, 13 minus 9 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. 12 plus 3 is 15. Okay, the 15 should be answered. See how it is to be traced. There are intricate details and we should be very careful. Okay, we should follow. What does the program segment will print? Character C. This is a string constant or string literal. Okay, the first cell address is C. Okay, character star p, okay, this is a pointer to character variable equal to C. So the very first cell is pointed by this p as a pointer. So percentages p plus p of 3 minus p of 1. P of 3 is G1 0 1 2 3 E. P of 1 is A 0 1. So E minus A, this is character arithmetic. E minus A is 4. E is 5, A is 1, 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, therefore it becomes P plus 4. P plus 4 means the content of the fourth cell and onwards, because you are printing percentages. The fourth cell is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and onwards. Therefore it is going to print 2021. Yeah, 2021 is the correct answer. So given the following recursive function, what is the output of function 345, comma 10? Let us see the function first. Unsigned integer function, unsigned integer n and unsigned integer r. If n is greater than 0, n is here, that is 345. Surely it is greater than 0. So then return n mod r, r is 10. Okay, 345 mod 10. 345 mod 10 will take out 5. Okay, the remainder is 5 because 3 part is divisible by 10. So remainder will become 5. N mod r will be 5 and fun of n divided by r. N divided by r is 34. Okay, 345 divided by 10 is integer division. It will the decimal places are truncated and what we get is 34 comma r. Okay, and we will just trace this side by side. Function 34510 is, okay, 345 mod r is 10. Therefore it has to give us 5. Okay, it has to return, modulo division should return 5 and function 34 comma 10, because 345 divided by r will become 34 comma 10. Then function 34 comma 10. This will be going over here recursively. 34 comma 10 is 34 mod 10 is 4 plus 34 divided by 10 is 3 comma 10. Then function 3 comma 10 once in the next recursive call. So 3 mod 10 is 3 and function 0 comma 10, because 3 divided by 10 is 0 comma 10. Function 0 comma 10 is 0 because 0 mod 10 is 0. So therefore what we get is 3 plus 0, 3 plus 0, 3, 4 plus 3 is 7, 5 plus 7 is 12. The answer should be 12. Yeah. My respected viewers can go through every program, okay, silently and slowly you will get to know. And this is the kind of questions which are, according to me, is little tougher. Therefore, this is a complex problem category. What will be the output of the segment of the program? A character variable ch equal to a. So this is character variable ch is initialized to capital A. Switch ch. Okay, ch will hold only a. Case A, put as choice A. It has to print this. Case B, empty space. Case C, once again put as choice C, empty space. And case E matching to put as choice E. There is also a default statement, put as no choice. What it prints means, since there is no break anywhere, it has to print everything, choice A, choice C, choice E, no choice. Okay, had there been break over here, it would have printed only choice A and the control would have been somewhere over here, okay, coming out of the switch block. So no choice, choice A, choice A, choice C. I think this is the answer that is going to be printed. Okay, with this we complete, my dear viewers, we have completed the C programming aptitude questions. Okay, most of the questions are taken from company question papers and some of the books, and some of them are drawn from GATE question papers. Therefore they present some kind of a standard kind of questions. Okay, and I suggest every viewer to go through this and get ready. It is not that the same questions will repeat anyway. It will hold a it is a hand holding exercise. Okay, the next tutorial will be on C++. Until then, bye. And if you have liked this video, kindly subscribe to my channel. Okay, if you are not yet done. So thank you.